Is that one? Yeah, that's one.
Call this meeting to order with the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The owl.
I'm sorry.
The owl's not on.
Oh. Just a minute, we have a little technical problem here.
The owl's not on. We'll have to reboot.
Oh, okay. Does that mean I'm going offline for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, we have a technical problem. We will.
I got to reboot the owl.
We'll have to reboot. So those who are online will get disconnected. Okay.
I think it might have something to do with that update.
Oh. It forced us into an update just before the meeting started. Oh. I forgot to print out that email from Kaylee. I didn't receive the email that I sent out this very late last night about closing the streets. Digging into the agenda. I'm not sure how.
Seems kind of late to work into something.
Well, she's got all the pieces in place. It's just that one little one. So that's a little.
I'll wait for the owl to reboot. Sorry.
Okay. What held up in the meeting?
I know. Sorry about that. Should be hoo-hooing. There we go.
I heard it. Didn't see any eyes yet.
Yep. Sorry.
Okay. A few minutes for people to get back on. While we're waiting for everybody to reconnect online, Tom, do you want to go ahead with the prayer?
Yes. All right, so we pray. Lord, I bet we all could say we're glad we didn't wake up in Ukraine this morning. And I'm glad I didn't wake up in Gaza. But Lord, I am so thankful I woke up in Libby, Montana, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Lord, I thank you that we have the freedom today to come to meetings like this. We have the freedom because of those that fought in great wars. We thank you for those that still fight in wars for us today. The military, for their protection, so that the enemy still would know that don't mess with the United States. Help keep them safe. So Lord, I thank you also for the police department right here that wants to keep us safe in Libby, Montana. A fire department that has to go out in the cold and water, and that doesn't mix so well. And yet when somebody is in need, our good fire department gets up in any time of the night and is there on the fire. We thank you for them. Lord, I thank you for the council and mayor and all that's here tonight for their ability to help guide and direct this city. Lord, I grew up here and I'm thankful for this, and we need people that will work to make Libby, Montana even greater still. We thank you for volunteers that help with the council, that they can work together to do good things for this community. Lord, I ask that we be kind, caring, thoughtful, considerate, looking out to the needs of others through this meeting, that our attitudes would be good. We want to work together for the greater good of Libby, Montana. And Lord, I'm also thankful that star in the sky up there on the big hill that the city lights up, that's a light that reminds us of a star that lit over Bethlehem, where a little tiny baby was born named Jesus. We just ask for the peace that Jesus was to bring to the whole world right here in this meeting tonight. Thank you, God. Amen.
Madam Mayor, I'm not sure there's sound for folks.
Audio and video are both on.
says it's on.
Okay. Sometimes Dean will text me if he's not free. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Williams,
Here.
Councilor Burke,
Here.
Councilor Berger,
Here.
Councilor Ian Smith,
Here.
Councilor Kristen Smith,
Here.
Councilor Taylor,
Here.
Councilor Zimmerman.
Here.
Roll call is complete, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Welcome everyone here tonight and online. I have one announcement, and that is that we had no applications for the vacant study commission seat, so we will continue to advertise that and see if we get someone who will file an application. Does anyone else have any announcements? Okay, then we'll moving on to approve the minutes for regular meeting 1663 on October 21st. 1665 on November 4th, and 1664 on November 4th, and 1665 on November 18th, and special meeting on November 18th.
Make a motion, we approve meeting minutes 1663 held on October 21st.
And that set of minutes was held over from last meeting because of a question of what was supposedly missing, but it was not missing. So, because the remarks was not made at that meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Any comments or corrections from the council? Any public comments on council meetings minutes 1663? Any public comments? Seeing no public comments on council meeting minutes 1663, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes are approved.
I'll make a motion, we approve regular council meeting minutes 1664 held November 4th.
Second.
Okay, are there any corrections or additions to those minutes from the council? The public comments on minutes 1664. Mr. Orr.
Madam Mayor and Council, I'm D.C. Orr. I reside at 1117 Nevada Avenue. The minutes for December 16th, November 4th, state that Councilor K. Smith addressed the difficulty of providing minutes without a minute taker. That is not accurate. What Councilman Smith did was made a very startling revelation that she has never taken minutes in the zoning board. And I want the record to reflect that. She also expressed frustration at bullying, and I don't know where that comes from. So the thing to understand, everybody, is that MCA 2-3-212 minutes are required, and they must state, that's a legal imperative, they must state the substance of all matters discussed and decided. Now, if minutes are not taken, anyone can take action against a public body that violates open meeting laws, and the court can void any actions taken at that meeting, which means that there's never been a meeting of the zoning board that was legal, which means every action that has been taken by the zoning board is illegal and void and null. That's since its inception. And I brought up the point of minutes when it was a planning board, and the chair knew that minutes were required then by law. Now, what will happen is any action that has been taken by the zoning board that has been passed illegally, unethically, deceptively, cannot be enforced. If you guys try to enforce it, the people will take you to court and they will win. This is 4 years of just bluff and bluster that is now going to cost the city tens of thousands of dollars to correct, because DC Orr stood up here and said, you know, you have to take minutes, and everybody said, nah, not us, we're above the law. Thank you for your time, and I hope you address it.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Okay. Seeing no other public comments, I would bring it back to the council to ask them if they would like to amend the minutes or make any corrections.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to have time to review that exact statement to see if Mr. Orr is correct or not.
Okay. So you want to postpone approving these minutes?
I didn't make the motion, so I can't postpone it.
Okay, but that's what you're requesting.
Correct.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. With the council's.
Is that what the council wants?
I'd like to postpone it.
Okay.
Okay.
I would just like to note that Ms. Monaco goes by what's recorded on the court record. And we just approved minutes that were exactly as were given the first time,
For the second time.
for the second time.
I would ask each of you who wants to review those to review them. They are available on the website. Okay. That would bring us to the next set of minutes, November 18th, 1665.
Make a motion to approve meeting minutes 1665 from November 18th.
I'll second.
Okay. Any council corrections or additions? Okay. Public comments on minutes 1665, November 18th. Mr. Orr?
So the minute says written, still DC Orr 1117. Minutes as written, I was very appreciative of how the chief had done some things there. And then it says he harped on no minutes and said that it was passed unethically, dishonestly, illegally. And I commented on the irony of enforcing laws that you pass illegally. Now, when you say that I harped on something, that shows a pretty heavy denigration of my actions. I'm standing up here telling you guys where you're doing something wrong, doing something that violates your oath of office, violates the law, and I don't want you to change that, because there will come a point where your minutes will be looked at in every single committee, and we'll find that every single committee has just ignored the law on keeping minutes. And you guys are in a world of hurt on this. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Does the council wish to make any changes or corrections to these minutes? Then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those minutes are approved. Brings us to special council meeting held on November 18th.
I make a motion, we approve special council meeting minutes from November 18th.
Yes.
Okay, it says, I've got on the top of mine here, was November 4th. So I need to change
Oh.
that.
I believe those were the fourth. They are the fourth, so
They're the fourth, so
the agenda's actually.
The agenda's wrong,
Yes,
okay.
yeah, okay.
Thank
So
you.
they were November 4th. Special council meeting November 4th.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Did I- okay, any additions or corrections to those minutes? Okay, any public comments on those minutes? Public comments on the special meeting minutes? public comments? Then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those minutes are approved. Mr. Sykes, do you have a administrator's report?
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, got the building report for the last 2 months since I missed the October meeting on that. The month of October of 2024, we sold 2 building permits, one for an addition and one for a new roof. That was for $1,173. And in November, we sold 4 permits, one for a remodel and 3 for buildings for the amount of $24,068. The reason that is so high is because one of those buildings permits was for the new housing units going down on Commerce Way, so it's for 13 duplexes and 1 community building. So where that puts us at for the year so far, we've sold 18 total permits for $32,600. Last year at this time we had sold 13 permits for $7,700. In 23 we sold 27 permits for $16,800, and in 22 we sold 17 for $16,500. So we're basically double where our average is at, but that was because of the new housing going down for cabinet affordable housing. That was a change for that. So far for this year we've got 6 new roofs were permitted, 13. So we got 21 new buildings going up, 1 massive remodel, 1 new carport, 1 addition to a house, and 1 new deck for the year, Madam Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Fire report?
Yes, Libby Volunteer Fire Department responded to 7 calls in the month of November 2024. 4 calls were in the city, 2 calls were in the rural fire district. 1 call was outside of the city rural fire district. They had 1 structure fire, 4 mutual aid with Libby ambulance, 1 false alarm, and 1 miscellaneous, the care center lockout. They're sitting at a total of 78 calls for 2024.
Thank you. Ordinances are on the agenda. Light streets, sidewalks. I do have a request. I was going to put the pedestrian flags back into committee. It kind of came out with the on the agenda. I kind of tried to track it with to approve the lower grant, which we approved the acceptance of it, but the details of what to buy didn't get ironed out. So I'd like to put it back into the streets committee so that you can look at the information and figure out a program that you'd like to have. Okay? All right. Is there anything on building after we got that lease done? Okay. Water sewer, no. Zoning commission is on the on the agenda. Parks is on the agenda. Finance?
I do have one thing. Madam Mayor, Council, last week I was able to submit our annual financial report for fiscal year 24, and it has been accepted by the state. So I will be getting that and putting it on our website. So I'll be looking for that this week.
Thank you. And anything on wildlife?
No.
Okay, so there's no City County Health, Board of Health, no Park District. Brings us to items not on the agenda. Any public comments on items not on the agenda? Mr. Beebe.
John Beebe, 704 East 9th. Good evening. Thank you all for letting me come up here. I read the paper like everybody else. I saw this ad for the commission. As you had mentioned, there has been none. I'd like to submit my resume.
Thank you.
Application for employment.
It's not employment.
Well, application,
to be clear.
Application for yada yada. I just will make my pitch now. Subject to that is a letter of intent or a letter of interest. Here's my interest. You all know me. I was on the police commission. I resigned, but I would like to submit my interest in this. It's all about representation. This was voted in by a huge majority. Obviously, the people want this done, and it's about representation for the people of the people. And I'm interested in community service. with mutual understanding and cooperation from everyone. As far as the intent, that comes from the people. We need to do some inquiring, and it's all about investigation, quantify, qualify. It's like inspecting a bridge. You start at the bottom in the approaches and work your way up. It's something that is, you know, governance and governing is you know, a hobby of mine. I've been to DC 3 times on lobbying for disabled veterans, healthcare. I'm familiar with government, and whether it's federal, state, or local, and I'm interested in it. Other than that, I would like to speak regarding committees. With due regard for parliamentary procedure, every committee in the world, every board, every commission, every council has rules. It's the first order of business. I've requested from you guys directly, and I have the emails. I wanted to, in order to participate in committees, I want to know the committee rules. What are the rules of the committee? Each committee has an individual assignment, a purpose. So you have to have rules for each committee that address the specific uses and procedures of that committee. Every committee in Washington, D.C. has rules. They actually have a rules committee. And so, with due regard for some of the ongoing issues regarding record keeping, that's a statutorial requirement. A parliamentary requirement is committee rules. You cite in the charter the Robert's Rules of Order. I would suggest that you get a rules committee and get your rules in order. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments on items not on the agenda. Mr. Orr, and looks like Mr. Vincent, and then I'll get to you, Kayla.
Thank you, John. So at the December 2nd meeting, your police chief spoke about his distracted driving, and he spoke about it under general comments of the council members. General comments of the council members do not provide for public comment. The mayor even apologized for being out of order. She knew that she was doing this illegally. MCA 2-2-103, public trust, public duty. The holding of public office or employment is a public trust created by the confidence that the electorate reposes in the integrity of those officers and employees. When DC harps on you breaking the law, you should defend your integrity. If you're not breaking the law, tell me how you're not breaking the law. But you guys seem to think the law doesn't matter. On December 2nd, your police chief spoke. He stood right here where I'm standing. He violated your rule of law. He violated council rules and procedures, violated his oath of office, and he violated my constitutional right to participate in government. That's in the Constitution, Article 2, Section 8 or 9. Not one single member of this body called for a point of order while he was speaking out of order, even after the mayor acknowledged she was out of order. No one is above the law. That concept is lost on those who abuse the law for political gain. You guys have got to do better. You're sitting here violating laws. You're losing the trust of the public. 2 years after we lost our police force and the mayor didn't even notify the council, you got to do something to rebuild trust. And sneaking around with stuff like this is not rebuilding trust.
Mr. Bracken?
Vince Bracken, 427 Thomas Street. Under the charter of the city of Libby, you guys can, the council can discuss and vote on the salary for the mayor. I think it's about time the mayor gets a salary, one that compensates her for her work and her time. And going forward, I think the mayor should be paid. That's what I say.
Any other public comment? Okay, Kaylee? I did send out your email this afternoon. You missed the agenda because it needed to be in.
11:30 last night.
I know.
Hi, Kaylee Konauer, business address 30711 US Highway 2. I am requesting the barricades for this weekend's Christmas parade. Barricades to start at 5 p.m. and be done at 6:30.
Okay, and I think you've talked to Mr. Williams about having the
did.
trailer with the barricades
Yep.
down,
Yes.
and the police chief about having a patrol car leading and tailing.
Leading and tailing, yes. Yes, I
Okay,
have.
so I don't see any problems with providing the barricades, closing the street. Does anybody have any objections?
I don't, I presume the insurance is covered?
It is covered, yes.
And turned in, yes.
And you've met with Mr. Sykes to
I have. Yes.
work out all the details,
I think
touched
so.
all the bases, I believe?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you getting a lot of participation?
Yeah.
Good.
Wonderful.
It's awesome. Yeah, we're really excited. We're excited about the hot cocoa stations, being that we're not going to do the candy. I think tentatively we've got hot cocoa stations on almost every block, so that there's things for the kids to make up for not throwing candy in the dark.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's
Okay.
coming along great.
All right.
Wonderful.
Any other questions or any other comments?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate you organizing this.
Yeah, thank you.
It'll be fun.
Okay. Any other public comments? Items not on the agenda? Any other public comments?
I think I might have a comment.
Sure. Items
I
not
don't
on
know
the
if
agenda,
something-
come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Kira Basham. My address is 22 Collins Avenue. I wanted to discuss with you guys the speed limit, and I don't know if you have anything to do with that on Highway 2 between Copper Mountain Coffee or before that and that direction towards Troy. People, and I know there was just an accident and I don't know what the causes of that was, but I live right across the highway from Les Schwab and Save Right, and people drive by there going so fast. I have called and reported it, telling the cops if they're bored that they could maybe come down and sit in the parking lot next to my house. I mean, they could nail people morning, noon, and night. They go by there going sometimes 70 miles an hour. It is crazy, especially with the new Dollar General. I mean, there's so many businesses and people pulling in and out of all the businesses, not to mention the school. It's 35 miles an hour there, but you can see the 45 mile an hour sign. It's just across the street from the Dollar General parking lot. And I mean, somebody is going to die one of these days. It is pretty crazy. So I don't know if you guys have anything to do with that or who.
Not in that section, no.
Oh, who would I talk to?
Well, actually not on Highway 2 at all.
Mhm.
You need
What's
to talk
that?
to the state.
Mhm.
You could start locally with Kip Nixon
Okay.
and move up the chain to Kalispell or
Okay.
however far. It has been a conversation more statewide about giving communities better control over the speed
Okay.
on state highways.
And would that be something, like, I had considered starting a petition with all the businesses to help the cause? I know I've talked to them and they agree that.
To take that further, I would suggest you come in and talk to Mr. Sykes and
Okay. I'll
get
do
more
that.
information.
Okay. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Any other public comments? Any other public comments on items not on the agenda? Okay, then we would move to the first item on the agenda, which is approve the committee recommendation for the skate park element construction. That would be Ms. Burke.
So the Parks Committee met on Wednesday, just last week, and we met with Mr. Montgomery and Mr. Phoenix and a handful of other people, and they are wanting to put a small half-pipe skate park at the, I don't know if it has a name, the park between the funeral home and the Legion baseball field. We all agreed that it would be a really nice feature to add. They've got funding ready from LORE a grant to complete the project, and they would like to do it this spring. I did have, just before this meeting, a suggestion for another placement of it that I did not go look at, but I think we could look at that as well. I don't know if we have to approve like the placement today. But I
Where was
would
the
like
other alternative?
the green space right next to the tennis courts.
Okay.
Off of Spruce.
Just right
It
here.
does have the issue that it has water and sewer running through there, so we would have to look at that.
Okay.
We would have to. So does council have any comments? Questions?
Are we making a motion or are we just discussing?
Make a motion. If you want, or if you're not ready, then we can hear public comments.
I'd make a motion we approve the skate park construction with the site to be determined.
I second.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council?
Well, where did the alternative site, how did that come about?
Well,
From the interested parties or somebody else?
No, that did
I had
not. That
several
was just.
interested parties contact me. I spoke with Ms. Burke. Just a couple things that came to my mind, and people that I spoke with, was the inadequate amount of parking down there versus we have a brand new parking lot right here. We're putting in a new curb, new street out here. It's a nice green space. It's less residential than down there. You have the Legion baseball issues with parking with games and things like that. You have the fire department training right next to where the skate park would be. You have funeral services that are right in the general area. I just think this would be a more appropriate location.
I will say when I heard the first location down the Legion ball fields, that's one of the first things I was worried about was the location there. I was hoping to hear, and it looks like there's a great group here. It sounds like you guys are possibly starting off small, but I think I heard that you guys are maybe looking. I know there's I believe it's out of Missoula, the office where they do the grants for the skate parks around the state. They raise money every year, try and do it every year, every other year. And I think they're around $125,000 or so, big parks. They just did one in, I think last year was Clinton, I believe. And I was hoping you guys were looking at something like that, because I think it'd be a wonderful thing for the young youth around here and stuff. So I am definitely for the construction of it, but the location down there by the Legion ball field was a concern of mine, especially for growth to grow. So here in the green space over there on Spruce Street sounds like a much better placement.
I will say though, when we were down at that site, it looked like an excellent spot for it as well, by the baseball fields.
Does it have room for growth down by the baseball fields?
Yes. To me it does. It looks like there's room.
And then the baseball fields, they also have their own security cameras that they run down there? Just saw that in the newspaper, didn't you?
I'm not sure if it would be on that section. I know
that section.
they've had so much vandalism in the restroom concession area that they have cameras, have security on that. And I did talk to Kelly Morford. I ran into him this weekend, and he had two concerns. One was that there are no toilets down there, which is solvable with porta potties, but he was concerned about exactly how they wanted it to grow, how they wanted the skate park to evolve and the expansion. It was a kind of concern that he had, since there's nothing been said about how that would look, because parking was a thing.
Does this other proposed area have room for growth, and it sounds like parking's adequate?
Well, first thing we'll have to do is locate the lines that run through there, because I know it was looked at the last time skate parks came up, and that was an issue. Because they don't go straight across, they go at a diagonal.
But
So we'll have to locate that
they're
and see
deep,
what.
right?
You still wouldn't want to put a concrete fixture on top of them with that was, or I don't think it would probably be a good idea.
I guess I'm confused because cars drive over the sewers all the time.
I know,
But you can dig them up in the roadway to replace them.
Yes.
Where then, if all of a sudden it's through the middle of the park, you'd be destroying that and then having to try and fix it. That would be the issue.
So, if something leaked under it or something. So, any other council comments? Okay.
No, I think we should hear
Oh,
from
okay.
Bubble?
applicants.
Public comments on the skateboard park. Just step to the podium, state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes for your comment. Mr. Snackenberg?
My name's Steve Schnackenberg. I own and operate the funeral home, and I need to say that I appreciate everybody's concern about having something to do for the kids. That's wonderful. But I want to echo Hugh and Brian's concerns about the growth possibility down there by the funeral home. There is zero room for growth there. Every year baseball season starts, and we have no room for parking. They're parking on my lawn. They're camping back where you guys have marked out where the skate park would be. And I've got to go over just about every tournament and ask the guys to get off my sprinkler system. I've got a huge amount of money invested in my lawn and sprinkler systems, and I can't afford to lose any more parking. So as far as the big skate park goes, I absolutely support that, but the location, I just assume you'd find someplace else to go.
Okay, thank you. Next public comment.
John Beebe, 704 East 9th. That open space is right across from my house. That's a good day use area. People use that. Oh, it's already in use. With regard to the skate park, I support that. But I think, just offhand, let's make it multi-purpose, multi-use. There's ice skating. There's roller skating. There's skateboarding. We have a place out by the fish pond that would be perfect for that. And I want to outdo Troy because they've got a nice skate, everything there, and we got to outdo Troy. Come on. Thanks.
Next public comment. Jennifer, I thought I saw Jennifer poised to get up.
Hello, I'm Jared Phoenix, 5375 US 93 Whitefish. I've been involved with this project and going with Ben Montgomery since the beginning, and I guess we did drive around and check out every possible location, both on city and county land, numbering them basically from in preference. And this area right over here was on the list, but a little further down, just due to it being a little further from the outskirts of town and what have you. Some good points that were brought up that were positives for the area by the Legion Fields was that currently there is a bit of a transient problem there, which also may have something to do with the vandalism in the porta potties down there. And to have this project down there would kind of have maybe more reason for police to patrol, get it lit up down there, have some public lighting, which would, discourage negative activity down there. As far as room for expansion, and the actual cost of building a skate park, I mean, looking at what they did over in Troy, they already had the the base of the park there, and they added onto it, which was about $125,000 from what I understand. So we're being realistic in our beginning stages of this, having just the mini ramp, which is something that can be expanded on. But as far as building something huge, I just don't really see it being a $500,000 skate park, something massive like over in Whitefish or something like that. I mean, we were definitely being modest in our planning and realistic. So it definitely has plenty of room for expansion down at that location also. So, and there was a couple other locations too that could be brought up if that one was totally off of the board. So.
Would you mind sharing where the other locations were?
Well, I guess we were looking at the park right behind Achievements, but Ben was just telling me that might be Burlington Northern Land.
It is.
Let's see, we had, what else was there, Ben? Oh, down below the Ski Dell area, which I believe that would be county.
County.
Trying to think if there was any other in the city. And then, yeah, I guess this was one of the areas that we went and looked at too, right here, because that was proposed 20 years ago when we went and we're talking about this back then when the old park was torn out. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other public comments? Jennifer?
Jennifer Nelson, 1026 Washington Avenue. I support the idea of a skate park, but I agree that with some of the folks here that I don't think near the funeral home is an appropriate site. I did look at another area that hasn't been brought up, and I don't know if maybe Mr. Phoenix and Mr. Montgomery had already looked at this, but I think it might be something worth considering. It is the city property over on Croto Road. It's the entrance to the ball fields, where we have quite a bit of unused land at that location. And I guess I would like to see a skate park be additive to our park system rather than taking away from our park system. Because the little park over by the funeral home, I've seen that used, for people, families that have gone through a funeral service. And they're a meditative park, or a place to have a picnic afterwards. And I think that would be a loss not to have that park available to people for that. But that's the outline is the area that I was. So I support the idea of a park, but I think that another location would be better. And one thing about that location on Croto Road, it's across the street from the National Guard. It is near the Fireman's Park. I mean, I think there are bathrooms at the ball fields, but there are also public bathrooms at Fireman's Park that isn't very far. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? Other public comments?
I did just have one more thing to add. We did go and look also at Riverfront Park. That was one thing we considered as far in the back area by the train tracks. It's not being used for anything, and there is parking over there that's kind of by where there's the Veterans Memorial out that way in that far corner.
Okay.
So that was one other spot that we did look at.
Thank you. Mr. Orr, did I see your hand go up?
So, DCR 1117 Nevada. Yeah, in the 70s when I skateboarded, we got kicked out of the dam pretty regular. I don't know what year I helped build the one up by what is now the auction barn. A buddy of mine had had a little trouble with the law, and he was coerced into donating a bunch of time on that skate park, and I joined in with him to help him out. We built that skate park. It wasn't well received in that area. Had some troubles with that. And then when the college did their building trades program, I donated a bunch of time building 3 houses in there, and I was ordered by the city to tear out the skate park. I protested, and the city said that the sale of those houses would provide some seed money to where the city would help build the new skate park. I've been coming to these meetings for 26 years. I've heard proposals like this before, and they just seem to get laid by the wayside on a regular basis. It's a great thing for kids to do. It's something that you guys really could help with. No one knows where that money went, of course, but you guys have a big pile of money that you could appropriate some of that out of the $1.5 million that you're holding. And you could actually, like Mr. Beebe said, we could show Troy how it's done. I'd like to see that happen. Good luck with it.
Any other public comment? Yes.
Justice Fairland, 38625 US Highway 2. I just want to comment as a skateboarder. I actually learned how to skateboard on this little skate park that was here that's been removed for years. I've lived in a lot of places, skated a lot of skate parks. The world seems to be really enjoying action sports, and so when we say skate park, it certainly isn't limited to skateboards. I would say inline skating, bicycles. The new thing is scootering. Kind of opens up the door for a lot of kids to get involved in something, keep them active, keep them off their computers. Just as a citizen of the community, I think that a skate park would be an excellent idea, and I don't think where it's at is really so much as let's get the ball rolling to get something on the ground. You know, really what we need is just a big concrete space with some light. That's kind of all skateboarders need. We'll put our own ramps and our own rails and stuff like that. Would be nice to have a professional setup, absolutely. But and I think the best skate parks I've ever been to are in park settings where there are baseball fields, basketball courts, BMX tracks, stuff like that. And so it would be, I heard someone comment about adding that to our parks part of stuff. I think that would be a benefit to that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other, I was going to say, I did see one back there.
My name's Ethan Culp. I'm 517 Montana Avenue. I think a skate park is a no-brainer. It just seems as though, and I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Orr here, that this does keep getting thrown down the road. I think they're asking for a very modest footprint. It was like 20 foot by 23 or something, which is not a huge space. And there's this talk of expansion, but at this rate, we won't have to worry about expansion for another 20 years because we can't get the first one built in the first place. So I'll just, people have been asking patiently for quite a while, and I think we need to do something to actually get this thing built. Thank you.
I saw someone else start to stand up. Yes.
Ben Montgomery, 417 Terrace View Road. Yeah, I'm I guess, like I say, I just want to see this landed somewhere. So the spot isn't critical to me. I mean, the city has places that this can go. I feel like that's an issue. In picking that spot had more to do with public space that people had easy access to, you know, so kids are, most of the people that use this are gonna ride their skateboards to it. There's not gonna be a bunch of cars. I mean, there will be cars there, but it's not gonna be it's gonna be young people riding there to use it, you know, on their scooters, on their skateboards. So, while I definitely, you know, believe that the funeral home's property should be protected, that's his personal property, that's his right. It's far removed from what it is, and the space literally is about as big as 2 parking spaces for a vehicle. The parking issue is a separate issue. It really doesn't have to do with if he doesn't have enough parking for his business. That's not the city's problem, or that's not our problem. No disrespect for the service that he holds there. I actually talked to the other employee there about that, and he didn't feel like it was a bad idea at all. Again, he doesn't own the business, but I think that there's plenty of room there for it to happen there and for it to expand there. I think, you know, to give partiality to anybody over anybody else parking-wise is, for something that's public space, really shouldn't be taken into account. But at the end of the day, we just want to see it landed somewhere. So I think that sounds like most of you guys are behind it, and the community's behind it. So I just hope that we can find a location and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Any other public comment? Jennifer had her 3 minutes, so sorry.
I can't talk on it till then.
We're still talking about the skateboard park. So,
Yes, but in different
okay.
aspect of it.
You're setting a bad precedent, so no. Any other public comments? Yes.
My name's Craig Phoenix. Jared Phoenix is my brother. So good friends with Steve Schnackenberg here. I'm 100% in support of a skate park being here, but I do understand Steve's concerns. I've gone down there for baseball games and things like that, or even driving by when there's a funeral going on, and traffic is just, it's a nightmare down there. So in my opinion, like, I think there could be a better spot, but I'm definitely in support of a skate park being built, 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay. Seeing no other public comment, bring it back to the council discussion.
So my only concern is for the grant deadline. Does LOR need specified location in order to submit that?
It sounds like they need the city's willingness to designate the space or to agree to it, but I don't think it has to be determined to move forward with the grant.
Okay.
She can't put it in until after January anyway, because she's out of money this quarter.
Right.
So she can't process it till January. So the motion was to approve the skateboard park location to be determined. So.
A second.
I think it was second.
It was second.
So, I just wondered if all your discussion was done and you were ready to vote? So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will work on finding a location. That brings me next to the submission of the DNRC grant for urban forestry. It came across my desk and seemed like a good opportunity, so I talked to Jennifer about assisting me with it and seeing if we could figure out if it would actually work. Jeremy Rank from the DNRC came in. We identified some opportunities with it and how it could help them as well as the city and care for the trees. We know that we've got about 5 hazard trees that we could identify under this grant and get some assistance in not bringing them down because they don't cut the trees, but they can do cleanup and stuff. We've got a couple other areas around town they might be able to help with that bolsters our ability to get these grants. We did identify that there's two. One would be kind of geared toward Riverfront Park and helping try to get those trees to grow. As Jeremy pointed out, we've got about 1% canopy cover down there, and after 12 to 15 years, it really should be much better than that. So we have some ideas of how to do that. We just need some implementation. And then the rest of it, really, we need an arborist to go inventory the trees, identify problems with the trees, like down on Lincoln Boulevard, and make recommendations for how to care for those trees. So that's sort of where this is headed.
I'll make a motion, we approve signing and submitting the NRC grant request for urban forest.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
I think it's great.
Okay. Okay. Any public comments on applying for this grant? Any public comments? Public comments? Then all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll get more work done on the grant. Thank you, Jennifer. Brings us to ordinances. The first is Ordinance 2045, aggressive solicitation and adding definitions to the same. The second reading, it's an ordinance adding a new chapter to Title 9, Public Peace, Morals, and Safety, entitled Aggressive Solicitation. This would be the second reading, so I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance 2045.
Second.
Any comments on this at this point? Questions from the council? Okay. Open it up for public comments. Public comments, Mr. Orr?
So when you say adding definitions to the same, is that something that was in the first reading, or is that being added now?
It was in the first reading.
Okay. And if I were to request the minutes of both the zoning and ordinance meetings where this was discussed, would I be able to get a recording of those meetings?
Ian, was it recorded?
I don't go to those meetings.
Okay. So you don't know. But that was maybe on the owl.
I did not record the minutes, but I do have them written down.
You did that with the planning, when it changed from planning to zoning, and they were very generic, and obviously they were done after the fact. I just had to ask that so I would know where we're going with this. Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments?
John Beebe, 704 East 9th. I've been following this ordinance situation for quite a while. I attended a lot of those ordinance meetings and committee meetings, and I would just simply like to see the same zeal in removing ordinances that are no longer applicable or relevant. As I see with all of these new ordinances, that, I mean, is this what all of the citizens of Libby want? Is a whole bunch of new ordinances? Does this represent all of the citizens of Libby, or a couple of hundred, or a special interest? Or it's something for you guys to ponder here. I will mention the state has a new law. You can conceal carry in our state legally without a permit. Yet our city ordinance requires you to have a permit. That's in conflict with state law. So I would like to see the same zeal of removing ordinances that are no longer applicable or no longer or in conflict with state law, new state law, as I see, with the zeal to create new ordinance. And again, I want to stress, is this what all of the citizens of Libby want? Or just a segment of them? You have open seats here. Each one of you represents every citizen in Libby, not just part. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other public comments? Other public comments? Seeing no other public comments, I would, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. On to ordinance 2046, an ordinance adding a new chapter to Title IX, Public Peace, Morals, and Safety, entitled Urinating and Defecating in Public Places.
Make a motion we approve ordinance number 2046.
I'll second.
Okay. Any comments from the council at this point about this ordinance? Okay. Open it up for public comments. Any public comments on 2046? Ms. Nelson?
Jennifer Nelson, 1026 Washington Avenue. I'm just don't understand exemption number 2. I understand that the ordinance is for public property, but the stated exemption if the act of urination is on a private property, not open to public view. I just didn't know if perhaps we have another ordinance that prevents people from urinating on my front lawn. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? I'll bring it back to the council table. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. The ordinance is approved. Brings us to ordinance 2047, an ordinance adding a new chapter to Title IX, Public Peace, Morals, and Safety, entitled Camping, Sleeping, Motor Vehicles, and Storage of Personal Property, and adding definitions to same.
Make a motion we approve ordinance 2047.
Second.
Okay, is there any questions or comments on this ordinance at this point? And I would open it up to public comments. Ms. Nelson?
Jennifer Nelson, 1026 Washington. Second paragraph, it says the purpose of this chapter is to maintain public and private lands, streets, sidewalks, alleys, ways. I'm not sure what ways means, but what does seem to be omitted, I don't understand what ways is, but also the right of way, if that's what they're referring to, should be stated as right of way. And that's the only comment that I have on that one. I would like to see it include your public right of ways.
Thank you. A public comment? Other public comments? Mr. Beebe?
John Beebe, 704 East 9. In considering all of these ordinances, I wonder if the committee considered that there's already a state law against public indecency, defecating in public, urinating in public. You know, why are we being redundant with these ordinances? And again, I say, do you wish to represent the people, or you do wish to ordinance them into compliance? Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Okay. Seeing no other public comments, Ms. Smith, was ways supposed to be right away?
That was taken from the chief's recommendation. I didn't get any comment back from the city attorney, but I would make a motion we could change that to rights of way.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So all in favor of amending that ordinance?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so with that amendment, all in favor of the original motion to approve this ordinance 2047?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, moves on to ordinance number 2048, an ordinance amending 128-024 parking violations that were declassified as misdemeanors.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2048.
Second.
Okay, any comments at this point from the council? Any questions?
Madam Mayor, did
Yes.
we get any clarification on whether the citation gives up the right to protest it? Discussion Mr. Ward, the chief had.
I don't know what that, I honestly don't remember.
Is that something Mr. Chisholm could clarify for us?
Okay, let me,
I think it brings it into alignment with all our other fees that we've changed to infractions.
Mr. Chisholm, did you hear that question?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question here?
The discussion with the chief at the last time this was brought up was when changing this, declassifying it as a misdemeanor to a citation takes away someone's constitutional rights to protest it, to have a trial.
It doesn't.
It does not. Citations can be protested.
Yes. And while I'm unmuted, the reference to ways in the former ordinance typically refers to alleyways. It comes from the state law, ways of the state open to the public, which includes thoroughfares that are not covered by the word streets. I believe that's why we selected that word.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. Any other council discussion? Let's open up for public comment. Any public comment on ordinance 2048? Mr. Orr?
This isn't the first time I've stood up here and said that your attorney is giving you bad advice. If you do a little study on municipal infractions, you do not have the right that you have when it was a whatever it was before. Because before you had jail time that went with that, and with jail time you always have the right to an attorney, the right to remain silent, all of those rights. Once they move to a municipal infraction, they do away with those rights. The municipal infraction, you can argue, you won't win. And in the future, I would urge all of you, when you ask for advice from your attorney, ask for it in writing.
Any other public comments?
No, I would like to respond to that.
Sure.
It's just plain inaccurate. Prior to reclassification, there was no imprisonment term for faulty parking. It's true that the right to an attorney in Montana accrues when there is a possibility of a jail sentence, but parking violations never had that possibility. So I'm afraid Mr. Orr is mistaken. If you would like a written opinion on any of these legal issues, I'd be happy to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Does the council have any other questions or comments? Then all in favor of ordinance 2048?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. The ordinance passes. Second reading brings us to ordinance 2049. Ordinance amending Title 17, Chapters 12, 16, 17, and 20 entitled Residential A, Residential B, Residential C, and Business. Oh, this is incorrect, isn't it? It's Residential A2. So it's A, A2, Residential B, and Business Residential. Residential.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 2049.
Second.
Okay, any public council comment? Mr. Zimmerman.
I did hand out to everybody here, back in the business residential section here, under the 17.20.050 performance standards, that under A there, the setbacks and building footprint for all buildings shall conform to the standards listed in residential B district. I've added exceptions. Garages and carports are not subject to rear yard requirement, so that people have a better chance of being able to, depending on their size of lot, they could have a house or a carport or whatever that will adhere to their, maybe if they have 2 vehicles or whatnot. So, and then under B, the heights of buildings may not be taller than adjacent properties that are in a different district and may not exceed 45 feet. See conditional use. I put adjacent does not include alleys or rights of way. So those are 2 things that I would like to see added to this.
Does the council have any comments on this amendment?
In all districts?
No, it would just be in residential business.
So, adjacent does not include alleys? So it can be an alley back to back, and that doesn't count? Or what?
Yeah. So yes. So if you have two houses, 2 businesses, corner to corner, but there's an alley separating, and one's A, B, the other's B or business residential, then because it's a different district, that doesn't require you that you can't build just the one height, one level, or that you have your setbacks on your backyard there and whatnot, that if your lot's too small, you can actually still have a garage or carport that's acceptable for your property.
I think it's getting at the true definition of adjacent, which is immediately abuts.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
But if things are across the street.
Alley or street separating these 2 districts, that's not considered adjacent.
That's not considered adjacent. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Does council have any other comments on this amendment? I would actually ask for a motion to make this amendment.
I would make a motion to amend 17.20.050 performance standards A to include exceptions. Garages and carports are not subject to rear yard requirement, and under B, adjacent does not include alleys or rights of way.
I'll second.
Okay. Public comments on this amendment? Mr. Orr?
So I would have to ask, is it legal, ethical, and honest to be amending something on the second reading when the public does not have the opportunity to mold that information over a period of time? And I do want to state for the record that I had some conflicting testimony when November 4th, the chair of this committee said that she does not keep minutes, and now she is saying that there is recordings. Residential A, B, C, and business residential have been going on for quite some time. I'm going to be asking to hear the recordings of those meetings. I'm going to be asking the chair if she's willing to testify in court that there have been minutes of these meetings. Otherwise, you guys are going down the road to a lawsuit. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Ms. Nelson?
Jennifer Nelson, 1026 Washington. I have to agree with Mr. Orr that I think the public should have that information that Councilman Zimmerman has introduced today. And because I would like to understand, as a member of the Planning and Zoning Board, to understand how this would affect what we discussed at length. And I would also like to address B, which that was discussed at length, and the reason that we included that is because residential A is our primary residential area. And we have sections of this city where residential A is adjacent to commercial. And an alley or a right-of-way separating those two can greatly influence the quality of residential A. And that was discussed at length, and I would really appreciate if this council would take a little bit of time to think about the ramifications of what Councilman Zimmerman proposes in B, and possibly in A, because I don't even understand what he proposed in A without seeing it. But I think out of regard to the planning board and to the public, that information should be considered by the public before it's submitted. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Mr. Beebe?
John Beebe, 704 East 9th. Again, I go back to parliamentary procedure and due process here. Do we have committee rules? Committee rules would prevent this. I've asked for committee rules for all of the committees, from the mayor, from Sam, from you. I emailed a whole bunch of you. Now, I still have yet to receive any committee rules. Committee rules would prevent this type of stuff. You know, with regard for parliamentary procedure and due process, I would suggest you do some reevaluating, and all of these ordinances are overwhelming. I mean, there is not one part of my lot that you don't control. Is that what the people of Libby want for representation? Again, it's about representation. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment? Ms. McCants?
I am Dr. Roberta McCants. I live at 270 Indian Pike Road. I am a member of the Planning Committee, the Zoning Committee as well. I think with regard to residential business, our objective was to maintain the residential aspects of this district. So it was to provide opportunities for people who live residentially to perhaps have businesses that they operate out of their home or out of a residence that they own. And so that's why I think we put the height suggestions, and of course as a member of the committee I have to remind myself that we make suggestions. We have been making suggestions for a long time. It amazes me. I look at this and I wonder, is that really what we took over 2 years? More than that, actually, to produce. With great thought, with a lot of time, volunteer time, mind you. And in the middle we got sidetracked because we had to revise the city's 10-year plan, which wasn't really a 10-year plan. By that time it was like a 15-year plan. And that took several weeks. It took public hearings. It took a lot of our time and energy. Still, I would ask that you consider the effort that's gone into this, the arguments that we've had among ourselves, the discussions that we've had over just about every really, really little thing, because we all have opinions, and that you consider this as something that, you know, that is not challenging, but rather for the good of all of us, and that you would pass these ordinances. And I don't really feel like I've done anything illegal, but then at the age of 82, there, I've been saying that maybe more than once, I don't know. And therefore, I think I just request the respect that I think this committee is due. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Okay, seeing no other public comments, I'll come back to the council discussion. So the motion was to amend A and B of performance standards of residential business.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
No? Yes.
I don't know that I have the answer, but go ahead.
On this, on B of the performance standards that's proposed, how does this pertain to maybe a property that is a large parcel that has different zonings on it? How does that pertain to that? Does it? Do we know?
Well, the way, I don't know why you're looking at me.
Oh,
Mr.
just
Zimmerman
because I thought
is-
maybe you might have it, somebody might have the answer and you're straight across.
The way I read this, if I could help Mr. Zimmerman, is it makes it so that it clarifies that adjacent means two properties attached. So if the large parcel has different zonings on it, it
Wouldn't fit in.
right, it would be required to conform to those standards.
Any
Sammy?
I was just trying to get, I didn't exactly understand your question, Gail.
My question was, so like down by the river, there's a large, or maybe there is, I don't know. There's a large piece of property, and maybe this half of it is residential and this half of it is, I don't know, business residential. And so I was wondering, does this new amendment affect those two properties? I mean, can they put an alley in between them and go, yep, there we go?
Well, if they put an alley in between them, I mean, we're just talking about lots of different hypotheticals.
Right.
But, if it's part of a larger development plan and there's a road or alley that goes down there, then, right, one side of the road could be taller than
the other side.
But if there's no development on it already,
right,
the impacts to existing properties would be less, right? If it's an undeveloped property.
Thank you. It was a weird question.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so all in favor of this amendment?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. So we're back to the residential business as it's currently written. Is that the case? So that would.
I made a motion and I think Melissa seconded.
Correct, to approve the zoning districts as presented. Correct? So
Yes.
all in favor of the main motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we just tie? Okay.
Can I ask for show of hands? I didn't hear anybody.
Oh, start
Nay.
with A. Let's start with all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there any resolution that could be done to change the nays to ayes? That would be my question. To prolong the discussion.
In my opinion, not for me, no.
Okay. Brian? You? Okay, then I'm going to break the tie with an aye in favor of passing ordinance 2049. Okay? Moves us on to business the alcohol license applications received to date. American Legion, Blackboard Bistro, Cabinet Mountain Brewing, Crosscut Casino, Dorio's, Gold Pan Casino, Harper Erdman, VFW, Kaju's, Libby Empire Foods, Libby Quick Stop, Lucky Lil's, Lucky Loggers, Mint, Pastime, Red, White, and Brews, Rosars, Town Pump, and Switchback. So,
I make a motion, we approve all alcohol license applications received to date.
okay.
Second.
In the effort of expediency, I presume all of these will be approved. I will abstain from the vote since I have business on the list.
Okay. Any public comments on the list of alcohol license applications? Any public comments? Any public comments? Then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. These applications are approved. Brings us to corn operated amusement licenses, American Legion, VFW, Mint Bar, and Pastime.
Make a motion, we approve all coin operated amusement license applications to date.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any questions on any of those? Any public comments on amusement licenses applications? Any public comments? Any public comments? Then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those license applications are approved. Claims received to date?
Make a motion, we approve all claims received to date.
Second.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Any public comments on the claims? Public comments on the claims? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Claims are approved. Business licenses, Libby Pawn and Master's Touch.
Make a motion, we approve business licenses received today.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the two licenses? Any public comments on business license received today? Any public comments? Public comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those business licenses are approved. Brings us to the unfinished business of Libby Development Fund Policy, and I have made no forward progress on that. Anyone else has?
I'd like to maybe open a discussion if we can.
Okay, go for it.
I think we need to, it's been sitting the whole year again. I think we need to kind of look at some ideas on where maybe we want to put this into use. I think Ian said a grant writer. I think that's a great idea. I think some of the parks, maybe this new skateboard park, that would be a nice.
I'm beginning to kind of shift my opinion here. I'd like to see some sidewalks put in, and like sidewalks that would benefit everybody. Like, you know, for example, I live on Balsam and Costa. Yes, thank you. Education Way. That's where I was going with this. Balsam and Education Way, all those places where we have cars.
Yeah. I can tie those two together with the grant writer because there are Department of Transportation grants out there that would safe street. No, safe
It seems to be, however, though.
I mean, they fund them.
The issue is that we want a grant writer, but then it takes forever to get to a grant writer, so screw it. Let's just put the money in something.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the sidewalks. Maybe we could do something with Christmas ornaments. The community has been talking about over the road stuff. I say we develop a plan on how this will work in the community and do it.
Okay. I thought I heard some voices, but
I thought I did too.
Beach.
Oh, Mr. Beach, did you have a public comment?
No, he's gone.
He's gone. I guess he didn't. Okay, any other additions to Ms. Berger's list? Okay, any
I think what Ms. Berger's saying is correct. We need to come up with some sort of idea which direction we want to head. If that's, let's all put our heads together and by the next meeting have 2 items apiece or directions we think we need to go or what we want to do and set time aside to discuss that and hash it out.
Okay.
Well, I will again say that I think it's very short-sighted and that we need to invest in an individual who is going to build that fund, be it a legacy fund, and leverage other monies for our projects.
Okay. Any other thing to add to the list? Okay. Then we'll move on to comments from the council. I did want to say in reference to Riverfront Park, because it's come up quite a bit recently, I did meet, and actually Justin Williams and Sam and I met with the farmers market representatives this past week. They're looking at some portion of Riverfront Park to move their farmers market into next year. They were looking at the backside of Riverfront Park, either the boat ramp or boat trailer parking lot, which probably is too small, or the gravel parking area. One of the big hang-ups is that they demand a lot of space, and they also want to permanently move a shed onto the area, which I said I thought was problematic in terms of vandalism and space. And so they are, at this point, they are reviewing their options. Will make a request in January if they want to come back and request that space. So you might be thinking about things you would like to see. We did discuss that have to have porta potties. They would have to have the insurance. They're being separated from the Chamber of Commerce, so they realize that they're going to have to do some of these things on their own. So, any comments about the farmers market? Okay. Just trying to think if there was anything else that crossed my desk this last week. Well, a lot of things did, but yeah. So, any
Merry
other?
Christmas, everyone.
Yes. So,
Merry
any other?
Christmas.
Okay. Yes.
One other thing I'd like to discuss right quick is we have our comments on non-agenda items. And we've gotten to a point where the public is not allowed to ask us questions or interact with us. We had tonight 2 different instances. People stood up here and got responses and got answers during non-agenda item comment. That's not fair and that's not equal. We've got to treat everybody the same. We're not going to answer somebody and we don't answer anybody. Mrs. Konauer and Mrs. Basham both got to stand up there and got to interact with the council, and that's not fair for everyone else that gets to stand up there.
I agree. I admit that sometimes I get sucked into trying to answer.
Is there a reason why we don't answer questions?
Because quite often questions aren't really questions. They're trying to start a big conversation, and Dan Clark always says that comments are comments and you don't engage in conversation.
I mean, we're here to conduct the city's business, so if we hear something that we want to put into committee or have the council address that's stated during
brought to us in
items,
comments.
Yeah, then this is the time where we get to discuss that. Oh, I heard this person say this. Should we explore that? But you know, we have staff that can answer questions, and there's other ways to just get.
And we do have a lot of people who come through here looking for answers for questions that we deal with on a daily basis.
That answers my question. I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else have comments? Okay, I'll entertain that motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.
It will be a